Morning, morning. Morning, everyone. Morning, morning. I know it's probably a little bit of an echo here, but that's because I'm trading in a basement right now. So just excuse the echo for basement. So testing. Does it sound echoey? Not to me. Okay. I'm just in New York visiting my aunt and uncle. So trading in their basement. And I'll be back home on Wednesday with my new microphone. So good morning, everyone.
Hey, good morning.
There he is. What's up, man?
What's up, man? How's your trip?
Good. How's Australia?
Man, uh first of all, it's really awesome here. I had no idea that Sydney was this big and that there was this much to do. So
What have you been up
it's
to? I've
a
been seeing your Instagrams.
yeah, so it's I mean, we've been exploring a lot. We checked out a lot of stuff today. I hung out with members a lot. I caught breakfast with a member, and yesterday I hung out with Santosh and the wives. The day before we did the meetup, and actually the day before I also did dinner with a member. So I've been really busy catching up with members, but it's been awesome because they're giving me a lot of great advice on where to go, what to do here, and it's been a lot of fun. So
Glad to
yeah,
hear it, man.
it's a really cool place. We didn't think we'd want to be in Sydney that long. We wanted to go up to the Gold Coast, but now we're planning on being here a little longer because we're realizing it's a really cool place with a ton of things to do.
That's awesome, man. How long are you there for? I think it's like a
Yeah.
month, right?
Right. So we fly to the US to prepare for the meetup. We first go to California on in actually 1 month on August 13th.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then we'll get ready for the meetup.
And then when do you leave, like US?
Right after the meetup, we go back to Turkey because my wife starts work like I
Right.
think the next week or something like that, like around the 1st of September.
When I was traveling in Europe, there was a lot of Turkish people around, dude.
Man, we play a game when we're in Europe, like try to spot the Turkish people first, you know?
Oh, dude, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. Yeah, they're everywhere. There's a funny Turkish comedian that I listen to and I laugh because he's like, I tried to go with my family on vacation and then we see a bunch of Turkish people and we're like, there's too many Turkish people. Let's get out of here, you know? Yeah, it's funny.
So we'll give it a
Not too
couple
many
more
out here
minutes
though.
and then we'll get started.
Cool.
How's the meetup?
And we had a blast. I'll share some pictures. But yeah, we had an absolute blast. Really great group. There was like 3 or 4 members, but then there was like three that either were members or they're, considering joining. And yeah, what a really just awesome group. So we had just a blast. Really great guys. Here's some pictures. Yeah, here's some pics in webinars.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we had a lot of fun. Yes, offer. I found some birds. There's like wild cockatoos everywhere and these little green and red parrots everywhere and these birds called bin chickens. So that means like trash chicken because they've got these long black beaks and they go in the garbage bins all the time. They're huge and they're not afraid of people. They're all over the place. Yeah, ibis. Thanks, Toops. Ibis. But right, Toops, they call them chickens, right? So, anyways, it's been a lot of fun. I'm gonna post a picture.
All right, guys, let's get started here. So, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to live trading. If this is your first time on live trading, welcome. We are using the webinars channel in Slack to communicate. The way we structure live trading is pretty simple. We talk about what's working in the market, what's not. We build the watch list live and we trade the watch list live. So, pretty much as you guys know, we stream on YouTube the first 30 minutes, which is preparing our game plan, which is talking about what's working, and then creating the watch list. After that, we cut off the stream at 9:29 a.m. and start live trading for members. Members see entries, exits, P&L at the end of the trade. And we've been doing this for years now. So the biggest thing that I think is the most important in trading is stock selection, man. Knowing what stocks to trade and knowing what stocks to avoid. And I feel like a lot of beginner or inexperienced traders kind of really focus on the wrong things, right? They focus on putting more indicators on their chart. They focus on, trying to learn new strategies and trading every single thing that's moving. But oftentimes, what I find that works the best is less is more, less indicators, less distractions, less stocks to trade because it allows you to focus better, right? So for me, these days, what I've noticed is pre-market, the game of pre-market has changed. Back when I first started trading, pre-market was not active. There was not really much stuff moving pre-market. And these days, pre-market is actually super, super active because all of the pumpers and all of the manipulators are trading pre-market because there's a lot less volume. If there's less volume, it is easier to manipulate these stocks. So we've been seeing a lot more crazy action pre-market. So what have I been doing to adjust to this type of market? Well, first things first is I'm just kind of showing up to my desk a little bit later in the morning, because the problem is that, you know, when you're in front of the screens, it's hard to have the discipline to not place a trade. But if you're not there, it's a lot easier. Let me give you an example. If you want to stop eating ice cream, if your wife continues to buy ice cream and puts it in the freezer, no matter how hard you try, man, you're going to slip. So it's better to not even have the ice cream in the freezer. So for me, it's better to not even be in front of the computer at pre-market because I don't want to get my ass trapped. You see this stock like PLSM here, squeeze from $4 to $13, right? Very, very strong, aggressive squeeze. So for me, I don't want to be involved in that. But now that it's broken, it makes it a lot easier to join that trend. Next, we'll look at VEE. VEE has just been squeezing up and up and up. Had I been here early, maybe I would have gotten stuck. So for me, I would rather let these stocks trade out and then join the trend. Everyone knows the saying, the trend is your friend, right? But not a lot of people actually follow that saying. So for me, if I know that the trend of pre-market is just a little bit abnormal, either A, I will focus on going long pre-market, or B, I will just take myself out of the equation. I will take the ice cream out of the house. You know what I'm saying? So that's number one is understanding that the markets are changing real time every single day, every single week, every single month, and every single year. And as traders, your job is to adjust your process accordingly to those changes. You know what I'm saying? So that's number one. Number two is we were just at the New York Stock Exchange. So congrats to the winners, Tim and Brian. One of our winners, Mark, dude, he got on the plane and they deplaned the plane, so he couldn't come. So sorry, Mark, you couldn't make it. We'll definitely try to consider you for the next event. But New York Stock Exchange was awesome. Got some great video footage. George is currently editing the photos, so once we get the photos, we'll share that too. But it always just goes back to the same thing, man. It's like, whenever we do these events, I try to talk to the winners, Tim, Brian, whoever else it may be, see what I could do to help improve their trading. And, two different sides of the equation. So Tim, is more his biggest problem was lack of risk management. So he was not managing his risk well at all. He was not using stops and he was not using broker regulated stops. So his fix is really simple, dude. It's actually like it's like, you know, everyone knows the formula to become a successful trader. Like I know to become healthy, I need to diet and exercise. But still, but still, it is hard. But, after a certain amount of time, when you hear it enough times, that is when it starts to click. So for Tim, it was a very simple answer of he has to now use hard stops on every trade and set a broker limit max loss. And you think in your head, Alex, you say that shit every single day. What do you mean? Well, even though I say it every single day, people still don't listen. So that was his fix, right? If he just does that, his trading will improve dramatically. What about Brian? So Brian is a very, very big trader. He'll be up 20,000, up 50,000, up 100,000, up a lot. So very aggressive trader. What's his problem? His problem is getting too aggressive before the confirmation. So the rule that we created for him is also very simple. Is you are not allowed to size up until the stock is under VWAP. But Alex, could it really be that easy? Could it really be that easy? The answer is yes. I once knew a guy, he's retired now. Okay, so he made so much money, he retired. I once knew a guy that every time the stock was under VWAP, he would short 50,000 shares. If the stock reclaimed VWAP, he would lose 50,000. But if the stock worked, which most of the time it would, he would make 100, 150,000. So he was risking one to make two to three. So that's something else to keep in mind is like, dude, there's so many different ways to trade. There's so many different ways to make money. And the biggest thing is for Brian, his aggressiveness was great, but the problem was, um, he was too aggressive too quick. So those are just two real world examples of things that, we discussed during the New York Stock Exchange event that I think will do a dramatic change to these traders. And the reality is this: whenever we do these events with Cobra, whenever we do these giveaways, the experience itself is great. How many people get to say that they are coming to the New York Stock Exchange, which is by invite only? But what I try to do is I try to spend time with the winners and see what I could do to improve their trading. Because the reality is, what other opportunity are you going to have to meet me in person and me trying to be there to help you? So these Cobra giveaways, these big trades giveaways are fun for the activation. But if you come, I try my very best to make sure that you leave with a plan to improve your trading over the long term. So with that being said, let's talk about our Cobra trading promo and then we'll get into building the watch list. So as you guys know, we are using Cobra Trading, which is our main broker of choice. With Cobra Trading, they have a $10,000 account minimum, which is awesome. You don't really need that much. And they have a really big promo going on right now. So if you open up a Cobra Trading account, you will get 30 days in free commissions. You will get $500 in locate fee credits. And we'll be selecting 5 people to come trade live with me in person at an undisclosed location. Now, if you don't have the $10,000 to open up a Cobra trading account, you could open up Big Trades, which is their sister company, which I think the account minimum is 2,500 bucks. and you will get $200 in locate fee credits for opening that up. So really great promos going on. These are the same brokers that I use. So I am currently trading with a Cobra trading account. If you are looking to be a short bias trader, in my opinion, there's no better broker than Cobra. Plus, all of these activations, all of these events are super, super fun. So yeah, I posted the links there, and that's pretty much it. So that being said, let's get started by building the watch list. So as you guys know, the way that we build a watch list is we always go to the previous day's watch list and we build from there. Why do we do that? Well, the reason why we do that is because we don't want to miss anything that was moving the previous day. Oftentimes what ends up happening is a lot of these stocks stay in play for multiple days, and then we just forget, you know? So for me, I find that monitoring the stocks that moved the previous day is just as important as monitoring what's moving today. So, as you guys know, I've been trading on a laptop. So, on a separate screen, I'm going to check the watch list from the other day and then start building. So, let me start. So, Friday, VRAX. VRAX pulled all the way back down. So, nothing really there. Really big fail there. It was a pretty impressive fail, honestly. So, not really touching that VRAX. RPGL kind of came back down, so nothing there. GMM fail all the way back down, so nothing there. CHSN, $1 stock, nothing there. PMA, nope. CHSN. So a lot of the stocks from Friday are not really in play right now, and the reason is this. So just because, just because a stock is moving the previous day does not mean that it automatically goes on the watch list. You always have to ask yourself, is there enough room for the stock to come down for me to be interested on this stock? So you think about a stock like VRAX. VRAX started at around $3, went all the way up to 13, and now it's at 379. This to me has given up the entire move, man. It's given up the entire move. So there's no more room for me to make money on this stock. So that is an ignore. So if there's not enough room, if there's not enough range, if there's not enough anything, then I don't want to be involved in that thing, dude. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be an ignore. So pretty much all the stocks from the previous day are an ignore. Now let's kind of talk about what's moving today. OLOX, pop and drop, nothing really there. All the way back down lower than where it started. So not really that exciting. MI, this one might be a pretty solid one if we get a bounce. So I would say probably a bounce towards a VWAP on this MI for a potential short. Uh, let's see here. The problem is the Chinese Hong Kong company, which is so annoying. I hate these Chinese companies, but if you look at the chart history, look at the daily chart. Every time it gets volume, it comes back down. Every time it gets volume, it comes back down. Let me tell you a secret. Every time it gets volume, it comes back down. Every time it gets volume, it comes back down. Every time it gets volume, it comes back down. Guess what's going to happen today when it gets volume? It's probably going to come back down. So only because the daily chart I like on this one, I'll be willing to, try it on a bounce. So MI, if you look at the daily chart, I'm ready to watch this now. If you look at the daily chart, you can see that every time it pops up, it comes back down. This is a Hong, this is a Chinese company, so can't use much size and can't scale in. Too risky. But if we bounce to VWAP, I will look to short the stock. So also one more thing is I know a lot of people have been complaining about locate fees, locate fees, locate fees. Something you have to remember, guys, is the brokerage does not set the locate fee. So the brokerage uses third parties to get those locate fees. So for example, if a brokerage is borrowing shares from, let's say, E-Trade, E-Trade sets the price and then Cobra passes that on to their clients. So the reason why locates have been so expensive lately is because of the vendors. The vendors have been raising their prices. So, in response to the vendors raising their prices, Cobra is now going to introduce two more locate routes. So, competition brings down prices dramatically. So, imagine if you have these locate providers that are price gouging, and then you all of a sudden include competition into the matrix, they are going to be forced to reduce their prices. Whereas a lot of other locate vendors and brokers are not bringing on new locate providers. So, Cobra is about to bring on locate 19 and 20. So there's going to be 20 people competing for the same locate price. And you know how competition works? The lowest price wins. So Cobra's been now going to introduce more competition into the mix, which is going to help reduce the locate prices pretty soon. That's just a heads up. AGEN, look at this stock, guys. This stock is above VWAP, is grinding, and has never really failed. So this is a very strong stock. So AGEN, stock is above VWAP. Stock is above VWAP. Stock has not failed. So most likely ignoring the short on this.
Also easy to borrow.
And easy to borrow. So next is, let's go VEEE. VEE, similar to the above. VEE, similar to the above. Stock is very strong. Stock is the main hot stock of the day. So I am ignoring shorts. And then
And that
last
one's
but not
also
least,
above highs on the daily.
yeah, look at
Sorry.
this, dude. It's just
That's an
squeezing up
ugly
like
daily.
crazy. It's
All right.
squeezing up like crazy. And then last but not least, PLSM, main watch for me today. Main watch for me today. Stock tried pushing up pre-market and nonstop fail. Notice the difference in price action between PLSM and VEE. One is broken and one isn't. So for me, waiting for bounces on PLSM, ideally 650 plus to start shorting. Yeah, and the thing is, PLSM, the locates are 50 cents, but if it's short, if we could get a bounce towards 650, this could kind of come back down to 5. So another thing that I want to kind of remind you guys is I'd rather pay 50 cents for a locate and make $1 a share than pay 1 cent for a locate and make nothing. So it all depends on where this goes. If it just bounces to like 550, that's not enough of a bounce for me to want to short it. If it bounces aggressively, then I'll feel more confident. So this is the watch list. I just posted it out. We'll share it. And yeah. So, Steve, I'll kind of pass the baton over to you. We got about 8 minutes until the market opens here. As you guys know, I will stop streaming at 9:29 a.m. and reserve live trading for MIC members only. So if you're interested in signing up, just email us, StephenRH1 at myinvestingclub.com. We have some promos going on. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, Steve, I'll kind of pass the baton over to you. My thought process is hopefully, we get this PLSM to bounce. It will need to bounce a lot. I don't want to just short any random bounce that happens. And that's pretty much it. So, Steve, the floor is yours, man.
Sure thing. So, yeah, as we kind of talked about earlier, I did a meetup out here and I had the pleasure of spending more time one on one with a couple of the members. Um, this morning at breakfast, one of the members had a really good question. And it was pretty much like, hey, you've met with members, all over the world in person. You guys kind of talk about trading a lot, I'm sure. And what are some of the common things you see between traders who are making it and traders who are struggling? And I thought that was a really good question. I've done topics. I've got one, maybe I'll post the graphic in a bit, but I've got one on like common roadblocks that I see. But there is some differences, right? So I kind of we talked about that for a little while, and I thought that was kind of an interesting topic because a lot of us, we're in one category or the other, and we've certainly been in the first category, even if we're in the second, at one point, right? So, pretty much what I said and what I realized is that there is a couple key differences, right? So first of all, what I notice is, and it happened to me, I mean, time flies, right? But it's been, I guess, 8 years, next month when I, quit my job to travel the world and trade, full time. So trading becomes a whole lot harder, right? When you need the money, right? So that's first of all. The traders that I always notice who do well are the ones who generally, not always, but generally, they're like, oh, I'm an engineer and I just have an hour free a day. So I come in, I make a couple plans and I trade. Win or lose, I just walk away. And usually I make a couple grand a month. And they're really casual about it. No big deal, right? Uh, they're struggling are like, I need this money to pay rent. You know what I mean? so, so what I would say is a whole lot harder when you put that kind of pressure on yourself. The reason that the discipline workshop works so well is because if you follow the rules, you're sizing down, you're focused on the plans, not your P&L, right? And when we really need the money, or we just have huge egos and we don't want to lose, right? We introduce really bad habits, right? Revenge trading, not proper planning, etc. So some of the other things that I noticed were some other commonalities between the ones who are doing well is, most of them, so I'm saying this to hopefully encourage some of you guys if you guys are seeing some bumps in the road now, but I wouldn't even say most, I would say all of them have had kind of rough patches when they were starting out, right? They've, lost more than they wanted to. They've either blown up accounts or had drawdown. But it always came to them starting out not listening to the rules, right? It was like, oh, I thought I knew everything. I didn't need the discipline workshop. I didn't need proper planning, any of that kind of stuff. Risk management, my max daily loss. And we don't talk about that daily because we're bored or we're out of things to talk about. We talk about it because we keep hearing these stories, right? So it was always like I didn't listen, and then A, B, and C happened, and then I started listening, and now things are getting better, right? Or things are a lot better, right?
Go figure.
So yeah, go figure, right? I mean, as soon as I stop hearing it, Alex, I'll stop talking about it. I promise, guys. I know you guys are tired of hearing about it, but it's what's happening, right? It's the common theme. So, I asked Santosh this morning, hey, do you mind if I kind of mention you in the live trades? Because I think Santosh is a great example of somebody who has been down that road where he struggled initially. He maybe was in with the wrong groups. Like I have that experience. A lot of us had that experience. Then he made his way to MIC and, you know, he's been with us several years. He's a diamond member as well. Alex verified him as a $100,000 plus trader. He does very well. He follows, risk management to a T. Why? Because he's been there, right? He knows, right? And I dug in a little deeper. I had a lot of one-on-one time with Santosh. Fortunately, yesterday we spent the day together and we had a great time. So we talked, trading a little bit. And I thought it was interesting because it goes back to a topic that you, Alex, have talked about recently. And it's kind of like, how bad do you want this? How much are you willing to work to get this? And when I hear some of the habits from traders who are successful, and I hear some of the habits from the traders who are not successful, it's really like night and day, And like I said, I didn't want to put Santosh on the spot. So I asked him earlier, hey, do you mind if I talk about you? But Santosh pretty much ran down his daily routine to me. And I was, pretty much in shock. He's working in the software engineering industry. He's very busy during the day. Here in Australia, the market opens right now. It's 11:30 p.m. Sometimes it's 1:30 a.m., right? So he works all day, gets home at, 6 or 7, starts working his second job, which is trading. And then he trades through until, could be 1 or 2 a.m. Then he's up again early, 6, 7 a.m. And I'm like, how do you function on like 5 hours of sleep all the time? Do you take naps? He's like, no, I'm too busy working. And I'm like, what about the weekends, So he's like, we've got a lot of family functions. So, anyways, I'm not saying you've got to like put in these crazy hours to make it. I know guys who I mentioned who, come in for an hour or so a day. That's it. But Santosh is, and members and traders like Santosh are at a whole nother level than the guys who are just making a couple grand a month, right? So, anyways, I thought that was a really good example of a strong work ethic. I think that if you guys could have joined our conversations, it would have been really beneficial. And the crazy thing is, you wouldn't have learned anything new other than we're teaching you guys here daily in the live trades, risk management, proper planning, all that kind of stuff. So, anyways, the market's going to open, but really great topics this week. And I'm glad I got to hang out with you guys. If any of you guys listening on YouTube want to ask any questions, get a discounted trial month, just email me, myinvestingclub.com. And thanks, guys. Any questions, feel free to reach out.
Cool. Thanks, Steve. So we're going to end the stream on YouTube here and get started live trading here in the next few seconds.